Today, I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different. This ain't gonna be really funny like that. I'm gonna be talking about death. I'm gonna talk about loss when we come right back.
Walking through the crease and the cracks of the streets, struggling for some food and a bed to sleep, while trying to cause overthrow. I'm feeling weak, ideology buff.
So I know I'm a little behind. What really happened is one of my friends had passed, and so it kind of inspired this video. I changed my whole program up. I had to take a quick break to just process what just happened, and it's got me thinking about loss and how we deal with it in this country and what type of loss we are dealing with right now. This year has been an epic example of loss, right? We literally have lost over 500,000 people in this country from just COVID alone. Now, let's not talk about domestic violence and suicide, which was a product of the lockdowns. Then of course there's the car accidents and the other forms of death that are still going on because they don't stop just because we have a big tragedy. The way we tend to see death in America specifically is that of a curse that comes upon us that cannot be avoided. Separate from life and something we must be stopped. We seek for immortality and we seek for all those things. Those things get in the way, those thought processes get in the way of us being able to properly mourn and deal with death. And don't get me confused, loss is never easy. When I found out Aaron passed, bro, that shit hit me hard. Especially after the year I've had, the year we've had. A year where death has been all around us, where everybody we know has lost somebody or multiple people. And we do not have the fortitude to take it because of our way we view it. We view death as a stranger trying to force its way into our house. First, the mother that birthed us coming back to collect us. Instead of being able to appreciate those we've lost and celebrate their life, all we think is resentment, pain, loss. Those things are always gonna be there. Those things are always real. But we get to choose how we deal with it. Do we seclude ourselves, isolate, and just suffer in the pain that we're going through? Do we think of all the loss and all the memories we will not be able to make? Or do we remember the good and the beauty, the persons that have left? Like, I'm not saying this is easy, bro. Because in the end, this ain't easy for me. I'm not doing great, to be 100 with you. I've lost too many people I care about this year. Most of the people I've lost this year, and I mean this year is in this COVID term, were people I deeply cared about in one way or another. People, not only did I deeply care about them, but I was going to contact them right before they had passed. And I don't know why I waited, I just was busy or whatever, right? Both people passed suddenly. Two different time periods, but very close to each other. Aaron just passed, and Karen passed in the winter. The reason me and Karen weren't in contact is because of our distance. They live in Florida, I live in Washington, opposite sides of the country. Me and Aaron, it's just been a while because we don't work together no more, and I just been dealing with my life and my problems and my issues. I know he's been peeping a lot of my little flows and raps and shit. I was like, yo, I gotta hit up and catch up with fam because it's been too long. Literally, like a day after I seen him peep my last freestyle, I found that he passed. That shit fucked me up, right? Like, why'd I wait? Like, why did I take life for granted? Why did I take that time that is not promised for granted? Because, man, let me tell you, that is something that we do a lot, and that does come also from the fact we have bad relationships with death, that we don't think it's gonna happen. We try to put it off and not deal with it, so we don't appreciate the people while they're here. And I regret that. It probably won't be the only time I make that mistake either, to be 100 with you. I'm gonna try not to again, but life is life, and we forget the lessons we learn too often. What I'm left with is trying to have a healthy relationship with his passing, with her passing, and with all the other friends I've lost over this last, I guess technically year and a half. I think one of the things that we gotta find is a way to support each other, right? Because we've all seen too much death of late. Way too much. We gotta learn to appreciate those who exist in our lives right now. Sorry for all these cuts, y'all. It's just so much fucking traffic out here. But I will say though, on 100, I miss you, bro, already. I miss you, Karen, too. But I'm gonna take some time to talk about Aaron a little bit. So I wanna pay respects to his memory.
Before we get to the next part, I want to say please donate to Aaron's GoFundMe to raise money for his funeral. The link will be in the description. If you got a few bucks at all, I know it's hard times, it could really help us support his family. All right.
So Aaron was the type of person who would do anything for his friends, do anything for the people he keeps around him, his co-workers. I remember I was in a situation, right, where I had to leave in a hurry from where I was staying at, because me and the other roommate weren't getting along and they're doing some things that put me at risk. So he opened his door to me. Always came with open arms and laughter, showing so much love. If love was currency, he'd be Bezos. I mean, fuck Bezos, but Aaron's the shit. The world's not gonna be the same without him. It leaves a humongous hole in our community. Leaves a humongous hole in Seattle, in Florida, all the places he's impacted. He's prioritized a lot of people. He was the type of person, no matter what, he would elevate you. He'd raise you up and show how much he cares. He'd always make sure your needs were covered. He'd always make sure when we're working security, when we're bouncing at the club, that we had each other's back. And he took pride in making safe space for people to be able to relieve some stress. He took pride in giving people smiles and showing out love. We all have our contradictions. So did he. But he stood by his people and cared a lot. Remember a few years ago, I discovered his old Facebook page. Let me find out, he's also against prisons, dead ass. So though he didn't really get into politics or do that, and he spent his time just trying to bring joy to people, he cared about the impact on this world as well. The way he felt like he could, from what I could tell, was by stepping up and building community in every place he possibly can. Aaron's light leaving this world is a great loss for so many people. It's a great loss for this world. And honestly, it's kind of fucked me up. It had been a while since we had hung out or talked, and I peeped that he'd been peeping my raps and stuff, and I literally was like, oh, I'm gonna take this nap, I'm gonna go to sleep, and I'm gonna wake up and hear Aaron up. After I wake up, I see one of my friends posting that Aaron had passed. I'm like, is this real? It's one of those things, he's one of the people that you can't believe they're really gone. But unfortunately it was. The world will never be the same. Box house will never be the same. None of the club environments will ever be the same without Aaron. He went out of his way to make sure that was safe. He went out of his way to maintain principle while being a bouncer. And it wasn't really about bouncing for him. It was about providing a good, safe time for as many people as possible. Aaron, we miss you, bro. It's a heavy loss for the world. All right, man, I'm out of here.